question. You know, I'm sure that when you come through the door to interview someone, the person on the other end is like really nervous. I want you to just think about it's like for me to be interviewing you. First, your book. Most famous people, celebrities, when they write a book, it's all about me, me, me. You know, but you didn't do that. You know, you wrote a book about others and advice from others. What made you decide to make that your book?
Well, the reason this book came about is I often give graduation addresses, which I take very seriously. I think it's a real privilege to be able to talk to young people going out in the world, and I work exceedingly hard on them, and I've done many at this point. I did Williams College, I gave the Class Day address at Princeton, I have spoken at the University of Oklahoma. Senator Boren asked me to do that. And so a couple of years ago, I was speaking at Case Western Reserve. And to be honest with you, I kind of was tired of telling my story to the graduates. And I thought, gee, I have had such an incredible career, and I've met so many accomplished, interesting people. Why don't I reach out to a few of them who I am friendly with? I never profess to be friends or BFFs with these folks, but I thought, why don't I reach out to them and see if they might be able to say something instructive that they've learned in their life for the college graduates at Case Western Reserve. So I reached out to Queen Rania, for example, who I've gotten to know through the years, and Sheryl Crow, who performed a lot on the Today Show, who I got to know as well, Biz Stone, who started Twitter and, of course, gave his response in 140 characters. And I started getting some really nice responses from people. And I only reached out to about a dozen folks. And I incorporated them in my address at Case Western Reserve. And suddenly I thought, wow, this is a great idea for a collection of essays, because I think everyone, no matter where they are in life and no matter what they've accomplished, if they're movie stars or singing stars or, you know, politicians, many of them have gone through very similar experiences that all of us have gone through, and could be very inspiring. So I cast quite a wide net, and I ended up getting 116 people to contribute to this book. And so I put it together, and I really did it as a gift. I'm not making any money on it. My proceeds all go to an organization called Scholarship America. There's a Scholarship America. Very enthusiastic bunch. They're great, and I did a lot of research, and I wanted it to be a merit-based scholarship and open to everyone. You know, there are wonderful scholarship organizations like the United Negro College Fund and those that focus on minorities, but I really wanted it to be need-based, not merit-based, but need-based and open to everyone. And Scholarship America was started in 1958 by a man named Irv Radkin, an optometrist in Fall River, Massachusetts, who asked everyone in his community to give $1 so the kids could all go to college in their town. And from there, it's grown to a huge fund, but it doesn't get that much attention. We're trying to change that. And they've raised, I think, $2.4 billion and sent 1.7 million kids in this country to college who otherwise couldn't afford it. So it's my little gift to Scholarship America, and hopefully it will help inspire some people. And it's not really just for college graduates. I always say it's for people who maybe want to take stock of their lives and recalibrate. I just got a wonderful email from the Junior League of New York, because this organization called, the Bayview Correctional Facility, with a lot of the inmates, the female inmates, were actually using this book to discuss their lives and their mistakes and their future and their dreams. And many of them wrote me how inspired they were by some of the contributions that are made in this book. And I also tried to tell a little of my life story and divided it up in certain, different chapters about the importance of persistence or the importance of giving back. So it's something I'm really proud of, and I hope, all the nice people who bought it today, I hope you enjoy it, and I hope others who haven't will. That's a shameless plug.
Well, I know the line was long enough for you tonight to sign that book that tonight alone you probably put 3 kids through college.
I hope so.
Can we expect a kind of Katie Couric tells all memoir in the future, or I think I read something in your book about you worry that you might not have the discipline to sit down and actually bang one of those out?
You know, I've been approached to write a memoir, and I'd like to one day. I really regret that I haven't kept more copious notes or a diary. I know when I got my job at the Today Show, Gene Shalit said, you need to buy a tape recorder and just talk into it every day. Of course I didn't, but I still remember many things. I think I'd like to start, you know, jotting things down and looking back on past interviews. And, you know, I've just had such an exciting experience in television news. One day I would like to write a book. But my dad, who passed away in June, was a print reporter before he went into public relations, and he made me promise that if I ever wrote a book, I wouldn't have a co-writer or a ghostwriter, that I would write it myself. So it's quite time-consuming, and one day I hope I will, only because I'd like to share some of the things I've done and experiences I've had.
Yeah, I know everybody here would love to read such a book. So
I hope so. Who knows? I always thought the name could be. Oh, no. Yeah, don't call me Perky. I thought on my gravestone I would put Perky no more.
You said, I think 115 contributions to the book, as you said. Are there one or two that stand out to you? Go, wow, that one really impressed you.
You know, it's such an incredible collection. John was nice enough to let me have a book in my lap, because there's so many great people who wrote essays that it's hard to remember. I know Morgan Freeman wrote about being on St. Lucia, and his sailboat broke down, and he couldn't find any parts for it. He kept looking and looking. He finally came to a junkyard, and he asked the fellow, he was exhausted, it was the end of the day, he didn't think he'd ever get his boat fixed, and he needed some very specific part. And of course, the guy said, yeah, I actually have it. And you know, that sort of illustrated the fact that he said, you just can never give up. Dogged determination pays off. I mean, there's so many in here. I thought Matthew McConaughey's was really good, because he told a story of having trouble starting the lawnmower. And he said, Dad, I can't do it. And his father said, no, son, you're just having trouble. So throughout his life, when he faced obstacles or couldn't do something, he would say, I'm just having trouble. In other words, whatever challenges you face, they can be surpassed. I mean, just Hugh Jackman, who is, by the way, can I just say, Hugh Jackman is bar none the nicest person on the planet. He is such a generous, nice, talented guy. He wrote that whole thing about trusting your gut. Mark Shaman, who is an incredibly talented composer, talked about being prepared to play for Bette Midler when she suddenly needed a pianist when I guess somebody called in sick. And you know, I mean, Jimmy Carter, Larry King, Tavis Smiley, Michelle Kwan, one of the inmates that I just described, talked about how meaningful her essay was, and it was about the importance of falling down. As a champion figure skater, she spoke about those things. Jimmy Kimmel wrote kind of a crazy one that was, when in doubt, order the hamburger, which is what his dad used to always say. You know, they're really fun. Some are on mentors, some are on, you know, rejection and resilience and how to deal with that. Some are on doing what's right. Bob Schieffer wrote one on Mama's rules, which that was his mom. And, you know, very basic rules that he lives by today, like don't lie, cheat, or steal. When you go out, always comb your hair and get your shoes shined and things like that. But they're really actually fun to read. Madeleine Albright wrote about never play hide and seek with the truth. And she made up these lies when she was little about winning all these competitions, and then she got caught by her parents, and then made up all these lies about being mistreated at school, and just one lie snowballed into another, and she was severely punished. And she talked about just the importance of being honest. And Eric Stonestreet, I don't know if you guys watch Modern Family, but he's on Modern Family.